Hello. Now, I'm a bit tired and maybe emotional, so I'm going to struggle to get this video across without it seeming petty. But I'd like to state at the beginning, I'm not trying to be petty, I'm trying to be useful. So, that said, I'll get into it and see how we go. It's a continuation of the John by the Creek peak ignorance and libertarian God, but leave God out of it this time, stuff. Okay, so after yesterday's video, John gave the reply that yes, his comment was a bit sloppy, and then went into a longer comment which finishes at the top of this. I'll do a presentation. Or should I do a video? No, I'll do a presentation so you can see I've only got two things up again. Right. So it was a long thing, and it finishes thus. So, why do we expect that people would actually be inclined to think for themselves when we've expended so much time, energy and effort in creating a system that, at least implicitly, minimizes the importance of taking responsibility for one's own long-term well-being? It's good, solid discussion. It's a big point that must be discussed, and I'm well up for discussing it. Right. So I didn't give the comment what it deserved. I only gave it a two-line response. It was quite a long comment, but I just noted, I see it as perfectly normal, natural maturing of a country. What countries haven't done it? Now, this is to open things up, to say, well, look, in the world now, all countries are doing this government thing, where government expands, government makes more rules. It goes from telling you what side of the road to drive on to telling you to wear a seatbelt and don't drink and drive. And I'm not, just because those are seemingly decent examples, it comes out with a mega dollop load of utter bullshit as well. But what I was pointing out in the comment is, whatever country you're in, your country, your government is doing it. They're all doing it. It is seemingly the perfectly normal, natural maturing of countries. It's what happens. Yeah? Okay, so John comes back with, all wealthy nations have indeed done it. I think as you can look at the stage of medium nations and the real emerging nations, and they're all moving towards it the way I can see. It's just not the wealthy Western nations. It's all nations are moving that way. It is the natural way things happen. But yeah, let's stick with all wealthy Western nations have indeed done it. Right. And all wealthy Western nations seem to be suffering the same malady, namely too much debt. Something happened over the course of time that got the masses comfortable, complacent, with traditionally unacceptable levels of personal, systemic risk. John's suggesting, the people were complicit in creating the debt problem. In part, they knew a minimum level of support would always be forthcoming, no worries. Now, after reading this comment, as I say, maybe I'm a bit too overtired and emotional. I just sat back and literally tears came to my eyes. Now, it's not that it isn't perfectly decent conversation about a subject. I like conversing about subjects. It's the method of conversing about the subject that knocked me sideways. I just sat here and finished my coffee, and I can feel it now happening again. And I'll go to Richard's comment on the one that started this off, which was rats, wasn't it? Reality avoidance techniques. And I've highlighted in Richard's comment where Richard is right. I think a lot of people bring their own values and labels to the discussion and start with them as the foundation of everything they say, rather than looking at what's going on and having an honest look at things for what they really are. Okay. Yeah, I'll do it again because he's nailed it in 2 lines. I think a lot of people bring their own values and labels to the discussion and start with them as the foundation of everything they say, rather than looking at what's going on and having an honest look at things for what they really are. And I'll go back to John's comment. All wealthy nations have indeed done it. All wealthy nations seem to be suffering from the same malady, too much debt. And then what the comment is saying is that the people, or the governments, private and public mashed together here, there has been, let's say it's private, there has been taking on of too much debt due to the government's socialism, basically, by supporting the people too much and giving them the they knew that they would be supported if things went wrong. The public have got taken on too much debt. Now, to me, that is another exhibition of what Richard says. This is a priori thinking. This is prejudice. This is going straight to the top of your structure and going, no, God's not applicable to this one. Libertarianism is applicable to this one. People are in too much debt. How the hell can I link this to the government? Ah, yes, it's because the government gives them too much safety net support. So the people go wild and have taken on too much debt. Now, for me, that is no way of discussing anything. If I'm right, and it is that obviously the way that things have happened. It is not, let's go back to Richard, it's not taking an honest look at things for what they really are. It's starting with your own values. It's just perverting things so they fit into your narrative, the thing that you want to push. And this time it's libertarianism. So there's too much debt because the governments are too socialist. Now, there will be a percentage of truth in that. But realistically, how big is that percentage of truth? Realistically, how big is it? Compared to all the other factors, with banks not being mentioned in the comment at all. People taking on debt because the governments are socialist and will back them up. It's a good line of thought. It's a good discussion thing, and I could talk about it. I could really discuss it if the alarm bells weren't going clang, 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 that I'm just talking to somebody that's going to go libertarianism, and government is bad, government is bad, government is bad. And then I will not be having a discussion about the facts, things for what they really are. I'll be having a discussion with somebody who has the divine truth that government is bad, and everything will be referred upwards to that. And I can't have that discussion. And if I can't have that sort of discussion with Johnny, who I think's one of the biggest brains of the people that comment here, it makes me sit here and drink coffee and tears come to my eyes. That is no way of thinking. If Over the Peak can be about anything, nothing to do with banking, nothing to do with energy, it's about thinking. And you don't think by referring upwards to one or two meta concepts that you think that you've got grokked. That is no way of thinking at all. It's no way really about thinking about anything. You've got to maintain openness for thinking so you can see things for what they really are, and then talk to people, other people about them as they really are. I've had some lovely conversations with Paul and other people, lots of people over the last few days on this similar subject, and we've come up with, I think, real advances in thinking, really good thoughts that I've had, they've had, my thoughts knock on thoughts for them, their comment thoughts knock on thoughts for me. Where I'm going to go with Johnny? Absolutely nowhere. And what a waste. What a loss for civilization. So I'll applaud all the other people that I've had really good correspondence with all the time, but especially over the last week. I think we've really knocked out some really good stuff. But for Johnny, I can see us going absolutely nowhere. Because you're not open to things how they are. You think that you've got the thing. God is great, government is bad, refer everything to that. No way of thinking at all. Very, very, very depressing. Thank you.